What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tales of the Gig number 3. Viewer Gig Stories, Chapter 1. All right, everyone, welcome back. I did post after the first Tales of the Gig video that I don't know why. I usually do my research with pretty much everything in advance, but I didn't take a look. At first, I was calling it Tales from the Gig, play on Tales from the Crypt. But because I didn't do my research, there was already a YouTube channel, which is really from a podcast, but the video version of said podcast, that already was using Tales from the Gig. So I changed the name to Tales of the Gig. I'd like to say thank you to everybody that submitted stories, and above all, thank you very much for your patience. The way I do things is, since I'm such a noob at doing videos, shooting videos, editing videos, every bit of the video making process basically, it takes me forever to edit and get videos ready to go. So what I generally do is I sit down in one day and I film roughly about 8 videos. Then I take forever to edit them. That's why I got one video coming out every 2 weeks. Well, when I first did my last block of 8 videos, I did Tales of the Gig number 1 and Tales of the Gig number 2. As soon as Tales of the Gig number 1 came out, that's where most of the gig stories that you're seeing from now come from. And now I'm shooting, once again, a block of 8 videos. At the time of shooting this video, there's still 2 more videos that are supposed to come out before this video comes out. This is slated for December 6th. I'm releasing videos, as of this point, every other Sunday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. So, like I said, the way it works, I film a whole bunch at once, take forever to edit them, so if and when gig stories do come in, they're saved and they're next up for the next time I'll actually be filming a Tales of the Gig, and whatever schedule, the videos would come out at that time takes place. So, thanks again so much for your patience. Now, let's get down to it. The first story that we have is actually from a close personal friend of mine, Mr. Matt Papineau. He lives here in Windsor as well too, and he plays in a band called Rendition. You can see them at facebook.com/The Fellas of Rendition. I'll put the link in the description as well. Now, let's check it out.
Hey, GK Mac. Matty P over here. Tales from the Road. Got one for you real quick. Late 90s. Playing bass in a Neil Young tribute band. And meet up with the boys for loadout to go play in Acton, Ontario. Our infamous agent gets to the rehearsal space as we're loading gear in our non-enclosed U-Haul low side rail trailer. Load gear, drums, everything, amps, stuff. Production was supplied, no big deal there. Just backline, which we covered with a tarp, which was a blizzard, and we just had a one-nighter in Acton. So, our infamous agent shows up, proceeds to write the directions of the gig on a napkin with a carpenter's pencil, and off we go. Get to Acton. It's not Acton. It's Milton. Same area pretty much, I guess. So we get to the bar, which was now on the right. We had to backtrack and go screwy here or there and try to get to the show. We get there to this 30-seat mom and pop, red and white checkered claw tablecloths. We look, hey, we're the band here from Windsor, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, great to see you. You guys can set your gear up there, but you got to clear your own space. So we had to clear tables and chairs ourselves, stack them off to the side, and then set up our back line. PA was just, okay, I guess so. Guess it was a PA. get done the show, get paid the menial sum. Once again, infamous agent, shall remain nameless. Only a couple of guys know who he was. And so we head back out, load the gear back on the trailer, cover it with a tarp. 401's closed. 401's closed? Oh yeah, the blizzard closed on 401. So, head back to the bar. The sound guy puts us up. So we spent the night in Milton after we had directions to Acton for a one-nighter in a blizzard there. 401's closed on the way back. Menial payoff. Very, very small joint. Very, very small. 30 people maybe, 25, I don't know. And we got stranded and had to spend the night at the soundman's house, and I have the pictures. So that was all documented. The stage is documented. You can see the tables off to the side. The pictures of us at the sound guy's house, pretty much sleeping on the couch and the floor, and then wait till the 401 open to come back. So there's one. That's a pretty meaty story. Wrong directions, blizzard, blah, blah, blah. Not even going to the right town, having to find a town. Yeah. So anyway, that's one. I hope it turns out well. And good luck with your channel and all the best.
Wow. That's a great one. Maddie, thanks so much for sharing that. Thanks for setting that in. Once again, that was a good friend of mine from here in Windsor, Mr. Matt Papineau. He plays in a band called Rendition. You can check them out at facebook.com/The Fellas of Rendition. Again, I'll put the link in the description below. Our next video comes from Leif Alexander Gruenberg. He's a musician from Michigan. You can check him out on the group on Facebook, Your Fearless Band. Again, I'll have the link in the description below. Let's check it out.
Hello, my name is Leif Alexander Gruenberg. I came across GK's new page today and just want to say thanks. It's a great idea. Musicians are storytellers. So we're all locked up and we got to find new ways telling stories. So GK was talking about being 14, just wanting to play. When I was 14, my brother and I had a band called Mirage. And at that time, we were just doing stuff that we could get sheet music for. We liked Santana. We got a book of Santana songs. I played saxophone and sang. And we also did things like Stormy, oh, Stormy. And our first gigs were for like the women's club that my mom was part of. Our keyboard player, his mom worked for the state hospital, so we played for a halfway house for the criminally insane. But that's not what this is about. My brother entered us into the Battle of the Bands at Springfield Oaks. And at the time, every time we played out, we wore these cream-colored turtlenecks and maroon corduroys. We all went to Penny's at the same time and bought the same. So we would look like a man, right? So the day of the gig, my brother and I both had hockey games. We were on different teams, so we spent all day at the rink. And came home, changed real quick, loaded up all our stuff in my dad's car. And I think we could fit the whole band and all of our equipment in 2 sedans. So we show up at the gig, gig's already going, and it's loud. And there's maybe 800 people there. And everybody is like 2 or 3 feet taller than we are. Plus they have platform shoes, hair down to their ass. And we're like, oh my God, what are we doing here? We had no sound reinforcement. We had no lights. I think we had 2 microphones. No bass player. So anyway, we have our time slot. We get up there and set up. Like I said, we didn't have any lights. So one of the bands playing, I think they were called Exit, they turned the lights from their stage onto us so people could see us. And we played our feeble little set. It was horrible. It was so painful, miserable. And, you know, people were like, these poor kids. And I think at that time, there was one Battle of the Bands, and the winner was a band called LS Freak, spelled Phreaque. So get an idea of the times. And I think the prize was playing warm-up for a Bob Seger concert at the same venue, Springfield Oaks up in Davisburg. So anyway, so we went back and licked our wounds and thought, you know what? it's time to start learning how to play by ear because we want to play Led Zeppelin, we want to play Alice Cooper, we want to play all this music that you can't buy sheet music for. So we spent the whole next year growing our hair a little bit longer. We went shopping at places where you would buy women's clothes. And we started like just updating our whole image. We got rid of our keyboard player, and my brother said, Leif, you're going to learn how to play the bass. So I took lessons from Steve Fava at Joe Fava Studios in Birmingham, and he taught me enough to make me, I'm not going to say dangerous, but I could figure out chord changes and just learn to start playing by ear. So in the course of that year, we updated our image. I got some visual aids here, and my dear camera person, Wendy, is going to see if you can get a shot. Think you got it? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is me, my updated image. I had an Epiphone hollow body, which is not a good rock and roll bass. I'm going to tell you. You get loud, things start to feedback. I also had really tight white pants, okay, like really tight. And one of the things we started doing was moving around a little bit. This one shows me moving around a little too much. And I don't know who had the camera, but this was the moment that my pants ripped right up the middle. Happily, I had white underwear on, whitey tighties. This is another picture, I think a few seconds later, where I'm realizing, I think I'm walking over to the drummer, Steve, saying, you're not going to see me moving much more tonight. I'm going to keep my back to the wall. So things were going along pretty great, actually. And Stairway to Heaven was our final song. We had a guy, Bill, that could actually sing, including the end. Hey, dance with I down the road. He could sing it. I can't. Well, we start it, and at the very beginning, he breaks not one, but two strings on his cheapo SG imitation guitar. And it throws his whole guitar off. And it throws us off. Like, we don't have enough stage presence to just go with it. And people start throwing bottles and cans, some empty, some not empty. And we literally got littered, no pun intended, with bottles and cans. And again, we go home and lick our wounds. So we're like, okay, we got one more year before we have to go to school, to go to college and stuff. So we spent probably 4 or 5 nights a week just getting one set down. We quit trying to get gigs at high school, dances and stuff like that. We just said, you know what, let's go out one more time and win the Battle of the Bands. So we decided to get into pyrotechnics. We were listening to Kiss at the time. We found a magician shop in Ferndale. I think it was Ramig the Magnificent or something. And he had all kinds of stuff, flash powder, flash paper. And we also got some roadies. We got smoke machines. We got all kinds of things. Our drummer used to put lighter fluid on his tom-tom, light it up, and do a drum solo on it. All kinds of crazy stuff. Here's one shot of the pyrotechnics going off when we wanted them to, which didn't always happen. But anyway, long story short, here's a couple shots from our last Battle of the Bands. Now, this Battle of the Bands went on for 4 weekends in a row. And you can see the matching guitars. Just not that cool these days. But my brother learned how to play guitar behind his head, probably playing Hendrix. And we'd do stuff like this. Very athletic. And we had, bombs going off at the right moments.
Wow. Awesome. Once again, that was Leif Alexander Gruenberg from Michigan. You can check him out on Facebook by doing a search and looking for the group Your Fearless Band. I'll have the link in the description below as well, too. Our next video comes in from David Nappy Hoose, another musician from Michigan. You can check him out at nappyhoose.com. Link in the description below. Let's check it out.
Hey, everybody. This is Nappy. I was asked to tell the story of the strangest thing that ever happened to me at a gig. And back in 1993, I was in a band called Nasty Jack, and we were playing at a bar called the Gangplank in Battle Creek. And the place was packed. It wasn't that big of a place, but it was packed. And we were playing, if I remember correctly, and middle age, I might not be recalling exactly right, but we were playing For Whom the Bell Tolls. And we had the fog going. We were rocking out, and people on the dance floor banging their heads and everything. And apparently somebody was a little too drunk, and I guess they thought we didn't have enough fog, because they proceeded to grab the fire extinguisher off the wall and shoot it off, covering the whole place. Everybody had to be, evacuated. The people are gasping for air as they're piling out of there. All of our equipment completely covered. We didn't get to go back in until the next day because, it wasn't safe. And we went back in there, and it was such a mess. We had to take our equipment apart and clean it all out and everything. It was a total nightmare. So that's the strangest thing that ever happened to me playing a gig, at least that I can recall. There are probably a lot of things that I don't recall, but so that's it. And there you go.
Wow. Again, that was David Nappy Hoose. You can check him out at nappyhoose.com. Thanks again for sending in your video, David. All right, now I have a couple stories to read to you that got sent to me. The first one is from Blake Stiller. Blake Stiller is a Windsor musician. You can check him out on facebook.com/Band on the Run Project. Also, facebook.com/FRO Entertainment. Again, I'll have the links in the description below. Here's what Blake sent in. During this lockdown period, none of us could practice with a band or do any gigs. So, a friend of mine, Mike McGrath, suggested that we just go pop up in a park with a friend of his and play. So myself, Blake Stiller, Mike McGrath, and Colton Summers Young went to Lansbury Park and set up at the gazebo and played throughout the afternoon. Mike's children made signs reminding people to practice social distancing. We posted them around the listening area. We kept doing this every Sunday, popping up in various parks with a great response from the community and the police. As Colton was assisting a new local business on Wyandotte Street, and it was suggested that we play on the roof of that business. It was met with overwhelming success, and the Wyandotte Street BIA had asked us if we could do it again, which of course we did. The whole point was to bring live music to people. As everyone was on lockdown, it was not allowed indoors or on outdoor patios during phase 1 and 2. We call it the Band on the Run Project because there were no noise permits being issued. So we didn't ask for permission, nor did we ask for forgiveness to do so every week. We're still doing this almost every Sunday in a different park or location around the city of Windsor. Once again, that was sent in by Blake Stiller. You can check him out at facebook.com/Band on the Run Project. Also, facebook.com/FRO Entertainment. I'll put the link in the description below. Thanks again for sending in that story, Blake. Now, our last story comes in from, and I really hope I pronounce your last name the right way, Larry Affeldt. Larry, you didn't send me any link for anything that you really wanted me to promote for you. So I'm just going to link your Facebook profile below for if anyone wants to check out what you're doing or any of your shows. Larry plays out on the road all the time, all over Ontario and Michigan, probably most of North America, a lot of different touring bands. But here's what Larry sent in to us. Sorry it took a while for me to get back to you. Okay, I've got one story I think I can share. I don't remember where, but I know we were in Canada. We were playing a black tie affair for a fundraiser for Doctors Without Borders or something along that line. We put together the usual band members that know the particular show that we were to play. We hired a frontman from Toronto who was a stellar musician, killer piano player, but unfortunately blind. He had been blind since the age of 2. He's quite adept at getting around and making it not so noticeable that he has impaired vision. He dressed the part, he looked the part, sang like a bird, he was the ultimate chick magnet. As husbands in black ties gathered over a glass of scotch, the wives in their low-cut, expensive evening wear polished off bottles of wine and started getting down. Like affection-starved homebodies, the women created a small crowd in front of his piano, seductively dancing in mischievous looks, all directed at him. The band is watching something unfold and curious if he even knows. The girls start jockeying for front and center. Some pushing and shoving starts, and some women bow out. With more room, one slides up on stage and sits at her man's feet, shooting those take me to bed eyes. Our man stays the course of the job at hand. The band starts to giggle at the show we've been watching. The woman then stands beside our man and starts the most seductive dance you can imagine. Last song, and she still has no response. In a last-ditch effort, she lifts her dress and shakes it in front of him. The band members are howling, and the jazz notes start flying. We make it to the end. "Good night," he yells, and hears, "You effing a-hole, F you." As we walk off the stage, he asks my brother and I who the a-hole is and what did I miss. We were laughing so hard and didn't have the heart to tell him that he could have had that many women. I can't remember what we told him, but to this day, he has no idea how many women he could have had, and none of those women knew that he was blind. Wow. Once again, that was sent in by Larry Affeldt. I'll put a link in the description below for his Facebook profile. Thanks so much for sending that one in, Larry. Wow, that was absolutely amazing. Again, everybody, I want your tales from the gig. Keep sending them to me. Please, please, keep sending your gig stories in. I'll absolutely get them on the show. Please send them in to musiciangeek519@gmail.com with the title Tales of the Gig. Well, everyone, that about does it for Tales of the Gig number 3, Viewer Gig Stories, Chapter 1. Thanks for checking out this video. Do what makes you happy.